Dior Parisian Summer Style 2026 Soft Blush, an Ivory elegant looks after 40. A soft summer elegance. Welcome to Parisian Outfits, where I always find joy in exploring style that feels both refined and deeply personal. Today, I'm drawn into the quiet beauty of Dior-inspired summer looks for 2026, especially in soft blush and ivory tones for women over 40. I think there's something incredibly captivating about this palette. It feels gentle, confident, and effortlessly elegant. In my experience, the softer the colors, the stronger the impression they leave. The power of soft blush. I think blush is one of the most underestimated colors in a mature wardrobe. In my experience, it brings warmth to the skin without overpowering the overall look. What I find interesting is how blush can feel both romantic and modern at the same time. Unlike bold pinks that can feel youthful in the wrong way, soft blush feels sophisticated and intentional. Have you ever tried replacing your usual neutrals with a hint of blush? Ivory is the new white. I believe ivory is far more forgiving and elegant than stark white. In my experience, it softens the entire outfit and creates a more natural glow. What I find interesting is how ivory pairs seamlessly with almost any tone, especially blush. Unlike bright white, which can sometimes feel harsh, ivory feels calm and luxurious. Do you notice how certain shades of white affect your overall look? Why soft colors feel more luxurious. I think soft tones often appear more expensive because they require subtlety. In my experience, these colors demand attention to fabric and fit, rather than relying on boldness. What I find interesting is that understated palettes often feel more refined than loud ones. Unlike vibrant trends that fade quickly, soft hues remain timeless. Isn't it surprising how quiet colors can speak the loudest? Tailoring makes all the difference. I believe that no color palette works without proper tailoring. In my experience, a well-fitted ivory blazer or blush dress instantly elevates the entire look. What I find interesting is how structure adds confidence, even in soft and delicate shades. Unlike loose, undefined silhouettes, tailored pieces create a sense of intention. Do you feel more confident when your clothes fit perfectly? Lightweight fabrics for summer ease. I think fabric choice becomes even more important in summer. In my experience, breathable materials like linen and silk enhance the softness of blush and ivory tones. What I find interesting is how movement in fabric adds elegance without effort. Unlike heavy textiles, lighter fabrics create that effortless Parisian flow. Have you noticed how fabric can completely change the mood of an outfit? The balance between feminine and strong. I believe softness doesn't mean weakness. It actually reflects quiet strength. In my experience, wearing delicate tones can feel incredibly empowering when styled with confidence. What I find interesting is how this balance creates a unique kind of elegance. Unlike overly structured or overly soft looks, this combination feels complete. How do you balance femininity and strength in your style? Minimalism with emotion. I think minimalism can sometimes feel cold if not done thoughtfully. In my experience, adding soft tones like blush brings warmth and emotion into a minimalist wardrobe. What I find interesting is how color can transform the feeling of simplicity. Unlike strict monochrome looks, this approach feels more inviting. Do you prefer minimalism with warmth or something more stark? Accessories that whisper, not shout. I believe accessories should complement rather than compete. In my experience, subtle gold jewelry or a soft-toned handbag enhances the elegance of these outfits. What I find interesting is how restraint often creates a more luxurious impression. Unlike bold statement pieces, delicate accessories feel more aligned with this aesthetic. How do you decide when an accessory is too much? Shoes that complete the story. I think footwear should feel like a natural extension of the outfit. In my experience, neutral sandals or classic flats work beautifully with blush and ivory tones. What I find interesting is how understated shoes can elevate the entire look without drawing attention away. Unlike dramatic footwear, they keep the focus on the overall harmony. Do your shoes usually stand out or blend in? Day to evening simplicity. I believe the best outfits transition effortlessly throughout the day. In my experience, a blush dress paired with simple accessories can move seamlessly from casual to elegant. What I find interesting is how small adjustments can completely shift the mood. Unlike overly styled looks, versatility feels more modern and practical. Do you build outfits with flexibility in mind? Confidence beyond trends. I think true style comes from within, not from trends. In my experience, when I feel aligned with what I'm wearing, everything else falls into place. What I find interesting is how confidence enhances even the simplest outfit. Unlike trend chasing, this approach feels authentic and lasting. What makes you feel most like yourself in your wardrobe? The role of simplicity in aging gracefully. I believe style evolves into something more refined with age. In my experience, there's a shift toward pieces that feel meaningful rather than excessive. What I find interesting is how simplicity becomes more powerful over time. Unlike youthful experimentation, this stage feels more intentional and grounded. How has your perspective on style changed as you've grown? Repetition as a style statement. I think repeating outfits is often misunderstood. In my experience, wearing the same pieces in different ways shows creativity and confidence. What I find interesting is how repetition can actually strengthen personal style. Unlike constant consumption, it feels sustainable and thoughtful. Are you comfortable re-wearing your favorite pieces? Details that elevate everything. I believe small details are what truly define elegance. In my experience, clean lines, soft seams, and quality finishes make a noticeable difference. What I find interesting is how these subtle elements create a polished look without effort. Unlike loud embellishments, they feel timeless and refined. Do you pay attention to these quiet details? Creating a signature palette. I think having a consistent color palette simplifies everything. In my experience, it makes getting dressed faster and more enjoyable. What I find interesting is how a signature palette creates a cohesive identity. Unlike constantly changing colors, it builds a sense of clarity. Have you discovered the colors that truly suit you? Emotional connection to style. I believe clothing is more than just appearance. It's a form of expression. In my experience, certain outfits can completely shift my mood and energy. What I find interesting is how soft tones often create a sense of calm and confidence. Unlike purely functional dressing, emotional connection adds depth. Do your outfits reflect how you want to feel? Effortless elegance as a lifestyle. I think Parisian style is less about fashion and more about mindset. In my experience, it's about choosing quality, simplicity, and authenticity. What I find interesting is how this approach extends beyond clothing into daily life. Unlike fast-paced trends, it feels intentional and enduring. Do you see style as part of your lifestyle? A gentle approach to luxury. I believe luxury doesn't have to be loud to be impactful. In my experience, the most elegant looks are often the quietest ones. What I find interesting is how softness can create a lasting impression. Unlike flashy designs, this approach feels timeless and personal. What does luxury mean to you in your wardrobe? Closing reflections on soft elegance. I truly believe that blush and ivory create a beautiful, timeless language of style that feels especially powerful after 40. In my experience, embracing softness doesn't diminish presence. It enhances it in the most graceful way. What I find interesting is how these subtle choices can completely transform how we feel in our clothes. So tell me, would you embrace this softer, more elegant palette in your wardrobe? And if you enjoyed this journey with me, don't forget to subscribe for more timeless Parisian style inspiration.